Let's talk about the Las Vegas Raiders, a team that is going through a tough time right now. They're currently 1-2, but it's not going to just be focused on this season. It's going to be focused on what has happened in the last couple of years. This team is terrible, and this franchise is horribly ran. Mark Davis needs to look in the mirror, and he needs to try to change everything that he's doing right now. Josh McDaniels is not the right head coach of this team. We all know this. Josh McDaniels is terrible. And if I need to go and show you an example of how terrible he is, go watch the Steelers game from Sunday night when he kicked the field goal late in the game instead of going forward and just trying to be aggressive and trying to get the 2-point conversion. And just depending on your defense, because you're going against a Steelers team that doesn't have the best offense right now. And I get that the Raiders defense is bad, but you were able to make some stops in the game, especially late when you had momentum and you decided to kick a field goal. You played too conservative, and that doesn't work in the NFL anymore. You should have just went for it when you're that close to the goal line and you're that close in the red zone situation. It was just a terrible decision by Josh McDaniels. Another situation I'm looking at right now, he has a team that he pretty much wants. Jimmy Garoppolo is his go-to quarterback. That's the guy that he helped train up when he was offensive coordinator with the New England Patriots. He got to sit behind Tom Brady. And I'm not blaming Jimmy Garoppolo for this, but what I am blaming for this is ownership, because they have been missing out on some first-round picks in the last couple of years. When they traded Amari Cooper and they traded Khalil Mack, they thought they were going to get a haul back for him, and they got a lot of first-round picks. Rarely any of these guys panned out. The only guy that panned out was Josh Jacobs. And right now, Josh Jacobs is not having the best season. He's the only guy that stuck around from that 2019 draft class. Josh Jacobs just led the league in rushing last season, and right now he's averaging 2.4 yards a carry. Terrible, because the offensive line cannot go out there and run block, and those guys cannot go out there and protect Jimmy Garoppolo as well. We saw what happened against the Buffalo Bills. No, he didn't get sacked, but he was getting pressured a lot. And against the Steelers, they just feasted on him for the entire game. The offensive line has to be better. And what I'm looking at from the guys they missed on the first round, it's been terrible. Besides Josh Jacobs, Cleveland Farrell was a 2019 first-round pick. He got cut off this team, basically. They declined the fifth-year option. He's now with the San Francisco 49ers. In 2019, Jonathan Abram got cut from this team. They didn't even let him ride out his contract. He was that bad of a safety. 2020, Damon Arnett went on Instagram Live, flashing his gun. He ends up getting cut from this team, was dealing with some mental health things, and he wasn't good when he was on the field either. That's a bust. 2020, the Henry Ruggs situation, just sad. The DUI involved killing someone, prayers to her family, but it was just a horrible situation with Henry Ruggs. So he is no longer with this team. And then you look at Alex Leatherwood, an offensive lineman from Alabama. I don't know what the Raiders were smoking on this day when they selected him in the first round, but you even had Raider fans shaking their heads saying, what the hell is going on? This guy was a projected second or third round pick, a late second or third round pick, and they drafted him in the first round. And from day one, he was not a good player with this team. He is no longer with this team. All those are guys that you missed out on in the first round. So you basically traded Khalil Mack and Amari Cooper for a bag of chips. And I don't even really blame John Gruden, because he was trying to build a team in his image. But he didn't really get to build a team in his image, because emails surfaced of him saying some racist remarks on the ESPN document. And that was terrible. Instead of the Raiders doubling down and saying, hey, this is our coach, this happened in the past, they went on and fired him halfway towards the season. And then they got another coach that had to deal with that mess, had to deal with the Henry Ruggs situation, the John Gruden situation, and Rich Bisaccia helped them get pushed to the playoffs against the Cincinnati Bengals. They're a goal line play away from advancing in the playoffs. Derek Carr throws an interception because no one was open. Great defense by the Bengals. Instead, they don't hire him to be their head coach. No, they go out and hire Josh McDaniels, a guy that already failed before without Bill Belichick. He failed with the Denver Broncos. He was a horrible coach with the Rams as well. But you know what? Let's give him another shot. How many shots do these Bill Belichick guys get before the NFL finds out that coaching tree is just not it? Josh McDaniels has been a terrible coach with this team. And don't give me, he was handed a rebuilding team. They just made the playoffs a year before. And you had guys like Hunter Renfrow, Devontae Adams, a very good veteran quarterback in Derek Carr. Now, Derek Carr did not fit his system. And at the time, you say Derek Carr did drop off. He had 14 interceptions in back-to-back years. You can say that for an argument. But Derek Carr's not one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. He was not able to make the playoffs with that team. And I get it, their defense was still bad, but they showed a lot of good promise. That same fight that they had with John Gruden and Rich Bisaccia, they immediately lost it with Josh McDaniels because he's a soft coach and he's not a leader of men. It takes a lot more than just being a good play caller to be a head coach in the NFL. Josh McDaniels is a tremendous offensive coordinator. I've said that over and over again when he's with Bill Belichick. But when Bill Belichick's not there, he is terrible. He doesn't know what to do. And a lot of it as well is because of Tom Brady. We need to start giving Tom Brady more credit for how he helped out Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels. Not saying that he made those guys, but he played a big part in making those guys. A bigger part in making Josh McDaniels than Bill Belichick, because Bill Belichick is a brilliant defensive mind. But he really made an impact on Josh McDaniels. And now you fast forward to this season. Just a lot of bad. No more Derek Carr on this team, which Jimmy Garoppolo is a better fit for the offense, so I can't get mad at that. Jimmy Garoppolo, to me, is a better quarterback than Derek Carr. I know a lot of people may disagree with that, but I like Jimmy Garoppolo just a little bit more. He fits the Josh McDaniels system. So far, it hasn't worked out. He has thrown a lot of interceptions this season. And we go back to the Buffalo Bills game to where they just got ran over like it was no tomorrow. They lost 37-10, and they can't protect him up front. He's getting sacked and pressured a lot, and Jimmy Garoppolo always deal with injuries. He has 5 touchdowns and 6 interceptions on the season. And another guy I'm looking at is Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow, before Josh McDaniels got there, was a very good wide receiver. He was not a top 10 or a top 5 wide receiver, but he was very good. He had 103 receptions, 1,038 receiving yards, and 9 touchdowns. As soon as Josh McDaniels comes there, he gets phased out the offense. That's the essential wide receiver that you can use. And I get it. Last year, he dealt with a lot of injuries. But still, when he was able to get snaps on the field, they're not targeting him. They have went straight to Davante Adams over and over and over again. That's the guy that he consistently wants to go to. And last season was such a heartbreaking season for the Raiders for the simple fact they blew a lot of leads. They were able to go out and beat a lot of these teams. They were able to just hold on to the lead. But Josh McDaniels didn't want to run the football as much. Yes, Josh Jacobs led the league in rushing, but you go back and look at that Monday Night Football game against the Kansas City Chiefs. It's 4th and 1. Josh Jacobs is red hot. He decides to throw a fade ball to Davante Adams. Why? Just run the football with your red hot running back that's been converting plays all night in Josh Jacobs. And when you get a substantial lead, run the football. Have we not learned from Kyle Shanahan in the past? When you get a big lead in the NFL, let's run the football. And let's not put the football in harm's way. When he's supposed to throw the football, he runs the football. When it's a 3rd and 15 and you really need to convert, that's when he wants to run the football instead of passing it. But when it's a 4th and 2 or a 4th and 3 and you're on your own 40-yard line, that's when he wants to throw a fade route to Davante Adams in double coverage. And that's the number one guy that you're looking at because everyone else is just running at an in or an out cut. The Raiders are horribly ran from top to bottom, and they need to change. They have too much talent on this team to be in this situation. They also have had some free agency busts as well. Now, last season, they went out. Well, last free agency, they went out. They signed Chandler Jones. He had a good game for him. Then he dropped off. He didn't look the same. Right now, Chandler Jones is not with the team. No, it's not because of injury. He's dealing with a lot of mental health things, and I do hope that he can get that situated. I don't think that he should play another down the football until he does get that situated. What he is dealing with right now is way bigger than any football game. And is way bigger than the team right now because he is bad off from the videos that I have seen and what he has accused Josh McDaniels of. So that leads them to their 1st round pick this year, Tyree Wilson. Besides Max Crosby getting pressure, that's the only guy that you're going to depend on is Tyree Wilson. So Max Crosby is still dealing with getting double teamed and chip blocked by tight ends. No one fears Tyree Wilson because he's a rookie. And I don't really blame him. This was supposed to be the year that he was going to come in on special downs, try to learn some things from Chandler Jones, and now you just throw him straight into the fire, and it hasn't worked out. He was a developmental player coming out of Texas Tech, and right now it seems like he is not the right pick for this team. I'm not going to call him a bust, but from the Raiders' track record, I wouldn't hold my breath on him coming in and being a star with this team. It's just a bad situation that they're dealing with. The linebackers can't cover in space. You only have one good tackling linebacker in Robert Spillane, and he's terrible against the pass. And guys in secondary still can't cover. Marcus Peters is your best cover corner. And we're in 2023 and we're talking about Marcus Peters. No disrespect towards Marcus Peters, but he is not going to go back to his heyday like how he was with the Los Angeles Rams or even with the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a team that's in a horrible situation. They're trying to rebuild some things. I think that you clean slate after this season or halfway point in this season, and you try to go get you a real franchise quarterback and Caleb Williams. Because at the end of the day, Jimmy Garoppolo is not a franchise quarterback. We have seen it over and over again. With the San Francisco 49ers, they were so ready to get off of him that they drafted a bust of their own in Trey Lance. And they had no problems just letting him go in free agency. This team should be in the conversation to go draft Caleb Williams and just try to restart everything. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you feel about the Las Vegas Raiders? How do you feel about them going through the John Gruden situation as well? I want to expand a little more on the John Gruden situation. I feel like, in my opinion, this team maybe should have doubled down and said, hey, you know what? The emails that surfaced were old. Let's just hold on to him a little bit longer and let him try to figure this thing out. Because John Gruden was getting good football out of these guys. It wasn't perfect, but he was getting a lot of fight out of these guys. Right now, they're not getting any fight, but that's just my opinion. But let me know in the comment section, am I missing the mark with the John Gruden situation? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, we want each and every last one, guys, stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Peace.